Hi, good evening. Shall we start? Hello, sir. Good evening. Are you hear my voice? Shall we start?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank
Yes, sir.
you. Okay, today we discuss about NFPA 110 and 111. So 110 is refers standard for emergency and standby power systems. For this QCDD, that is current exam, we need to follow 2019. After 3 years, we may go for the renewal. At that time, it may be changed or not. So right now, we need to take the exam. We need to refer these editions. 2019. So standard for emergency and standby power systems is simply we say that generator. In our VOQ, we have a word generator. So now, sometimes in our VOQ, we hear the word prime generator or standby generator. So here we need to discuss about the standby generator. So standby power systems. It's a colloquial word. We use the word generator or DG. So here more specifically, we use the word exact technical term. We use the word standby power systems. So right now what we use in our construction, we say standby power system generator. So now we need to discuss what the difference between the prime. Suppose we have a new site. Just now we have started a new site. So that means in this site, we need to provide the facilities, site facilities. In the site facilities, one of the important thing is construction power. So in general, for the construction, for site activity, we procure one generator. That generator, because in the site, we need electrical power for various parts in the site office, for the construction activities, we need electrical power. For that power, we procure the generator. So the generator will operate 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. because our working time is 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. So 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. continuously the generator will operate because we need a power for the construction activity because we didn't have that Karama power. Here in Qatar, we say that Karama power or prime power, we didn't have that. That's why we go for that generator. The generator will operate for continuously 8 hours or 9 hours, or in general, we say that on regular basis. So if we go for the regular basis, we go for the prime generator. So in the prime generator, we know what is the actual load. And we know that when we need that power, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. or 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., whatever the regular basis, we know that. In the other hand, we have another generator. In this generator, we keep in the BOQ. We keep in the cost sheet. In the cost sheet, we prepare the prime generators. But in our BOQ, mostly we use the standby generator because here we have one building. Here we are using that Karama power. Due to unexpected reasons, with the power fails, we go for that standby. We go for the emergency. That power we go for the standby emergency systems. So that means here we have a generator. The generator must comply this standard. So it is not mandatory. It's operate for continuous on regular basis 8 hours or 2 hours. It may operate for 1 hour. It may operate for the 10 hours. Depends upon the requirement. We need to design the things. So it's entirely different. It is entirely different. Now we discuss about this standby generators. So before understanding the standby DG, so in our home country, not in Qatar, because here we have least possible power failure. Yet now we didn't have any power failure. Just we think about our home country. So in our home country, sometimes in the summer season, we have a power failure. So usually what we have a UPS systems. So in the UPS, so in my town, I have a 2 hours power failure. In your town, you may be a 1 hour or 4 hours. So both having a same capacity. My requirement is 1 fan and 1 tube light. It is my requirement. So that is from this we can be able to find that what is the connected load, what are the power actual load we needed. Say for example 1000. So in general we use the word kilowatts, but actual record not. This is based on the load we calculate 1000 watts. Now we convert into the kVA. So now we take that 1000 kV, 1000 VA we needed. This is the capacity. The capacity we calculated based on the load. Next, we needed another requirement. We have a battery. Here the battery will supply 1000 kVA for 1 hour in my town, for 2 hours in your town. So we need to calculate it here AH. So A depends upon the load, H depends upon the actual requirement. So here the standby power generator, we didn't know that time, whether we needed 1 hour backup or 2 hours, continuously is operated on 1 hour or 2 hours, depends upon the things. So that is also important thing. In our exam, mostly we have a question like that. Okay, now. Okay, so that's why this we discuss about that 110 emergency standard for emergency and standby power systems. Now, just for understanding only, I say that UPS. So here standard for emergency and standby power system 110. So in this generator, we are able to store any electrical energy. So if there is not able to store electrical energy, then we refers 110. If we need to store the electrical energy, then we go for the 111. In the entire building, we need a generator. For the emergency light, we need a battery backup. So that we go for our central battery systems, we need to refer that 111. So more or less, both almost all the chapters, all the informations, more or less similar. If it's strong in the 110, we can be able to answer the question for 111 also. As I told you in the previous class, first we need to familiar with that ins of the information's concept. We must familiar about where it is. So in this standard, we have 8 chapters and 3 annexes are there. So in here, mostly we have a question from this area. So today one engineer sir, so he told that 25 into 2, 50 marks. Ten into 3, 30. 5 into 4, 20. 100 marks. And we told total 40 questions. Okay. So in our exam, as I told in the previous class, we have a 40 questions. The 40 questions carries either 2 marks, 3 marks, 5 marks, 2, 3, 4 marks. So in general, we may say 25 questions, 2 mark questions, 3 mark questions, 5, 4 mark questions. By this way, we may derive 140 questions. So we need to discuss about that definitions. and everyone having at least 1 or 2 questions from this area is too important. So here we have 3 tables are there. The same, one more thing, the same chapters, 8 chapters and 3 annexes, the same terms we used in the 111 also. And in this 110, the testing and visual inspections, we need to refer these annexes. So usually in the other systems, for example, NFA 72, the chapter 14, they meant exclusively for that inspection, testing, and maintenance. Here we have 8 chapters. In the inspection, testing, maintenance table, we refer in the annexer A. So before going to this chapter, first we need to know about that, what are the elements or apparatus available in the systems. So familiar, one is our objective to get that electrical power in the case of failure, prime power failures. So we need electrical energy. How we get the electrical energy? We need an alternator. So here we have an alternator. So in the alternator, which is used to produce electrical energy, if you are giving a mechanical, so the alternator is coupled with the prime mover. And the prime mover, we need to rotate. So that needs some fuel. That's why we have a fuel tank. So these are the 4 important things. What are the things? Number 1, alternator, then engine, then fuel tank. So take our car or 2-wheeler. So we have a engine, we have an alternator, we have a fuel. But initially, first we need to kick start or we need to clean. What we needed? We need a battery backup because initial we need a power. Once it started, the battery is not required. Is correct? So that's why here the engine we need to start. The fuel which is used to continuous operation, for initial operations, we need a battery backup. So here we use the battery. So these are the important things. Number 2, so we have a fuel tank. So we know that because in our 2-wheeler or 4-wheeler, we have a fuel tank is there. So we need to measure that whether the tank is full or empty. That way we can be able to understand that. So another important thing in the fuel tank, these are the important things. Next we discuss about the accessories or auxiliaries. So what are the accessories, auxiliaries? We have a level indicator. And we have a fuel is there, but the fuel is maybe contaminated, is affect the systems. That's why we need a filters. Suppose if the fuel is empty, what will happen? We need to ensure that because we have some alarm. So we have alarm systems are there. These all put together, we call as a control panel. So in the systems, because in the standard, we have one chapter, that chapter we have a alarm, control panels. And right now, we are using the electrical power. Unfortunately, the power is failure. So we need to go for that backup. That is standby systems. So there is a time delay between the prime power failure and to on the standby. The delay depends upon how we operated. We need to manually, we need to do that. So whether we go for that manual operations to switch over to that standby to the prime or prime to standby. So that we call as a transfer switches. So the transfer switches, so always we need automatic systems. That's why we have a automatic transfer switches. So due to automatic transfer switch, here we have a manual. Even though it is automatic transfer switch, here inside this system, we have a mechanical operations are there. So if you have a mechanical operation, what will happen? There is a spark will created. Thereby, we have the layer may be corrupt, that is black colors, it's not able to contact. So that means we need to maintain that. If you have go for the maintenance, at that time, if our failure, what we have? We go for the manual systems. So that means ultimate objective, we need a more reliability. So that are also important parameter why we go for the standards. So in this, throughout the systems, all the parameters, different chapters we need to discuss here. So in general, the first 3 chapters which helps so it is not related to the exam, but after getting that license, we need to work that. So mostly the first 3 chapters will help for these persons. The chapter that is inspection, routine maintenance, 7th chapter, 8th chapter, these annexes, because it's related to the maintenance and the testings. So it's related, those are working in the maintenance field and the testing, they may refer those things. So in the throughout the PowerPoint, sometimes I highlighted that yellow color. These are the terms they ask in the exams. We need to remember the terms. Number 1, this standard contains requirement covering the performance of emergency and standby power systems, providing an alternative source of electric power to the load in the building and facilities in the event that the primary power source failure. That's why we say that standby systems. So the primary power failures here in this building also that is a happen. In the hospital also it may happen. In the data centers also it may happen. But we need to categorize the 3 different categories. So it's a normal building. So the power failures, we need a backup power, but not immediately. But at the same time, you go for the hospital, we need a backup power immediately. So we need to categorize the requirement. So the categorize the requirement is another important thing. We categorize based on the level. So as I told, so simply we use the word power generator, but here we use the technical term, we have power systems. Power systems means it consists of prime sources, transfer prime sources. Here we say that alternator and alternator and the prime movers. Transfer equipment, we say that ATS. Simply we say that control and supervisory equipment, control panels. And other related electrical mechanical auxiliaries. So the main objective, we make a maximum reliability. If A failures, we go for the B. The B failures, we go for the C. By this way, we have a different options which ensure that if the power failures, we need that standby systems. So chapter 2, in the chapter 1, we didn't have the many questions. Just simply we have a definitions only. The chapter 2, as I told in the previous class, so in general, in the referred publication chapter 2, throughout the standard, they may refer some other NFA standards and some other UL lists, other agencies. So all we can find in these standards. For example, we take NFA 54, here National Fuel Gas Code, because here we have a fuel tank is there. The fuel tank is maybe a diesel. Mostly we are using the fuel. Sometimes instead of the liquid diesel, we go for the gas cells also. So that's why we refer these standards. And see NFA 99, because this question frequently asked in that exam, NFA 99, healthcare facilities. So it's related to the hospital and other things. So mostly in the hospital, we need to refer that NFA 110, because based on the requirement. So that's why here mostly all they refer that, which is these standards, which we need to refer that 110 or 110, he referred these standards. And here There is no need to remember these things because in our exam they didn't ask anything about these things. As I told, most of the NFA standards and UL list you referred 72,101 and 5,000. So there you can be able to get all the NFA standards and UL instead of referring this. Because our main objective to get the license. So here we have only a few things only. So important definitions. So almost the first 4 definitions are almost all the systems they will use the word.